What's up, guys? Welcome back to All Marvel. Daredevil Born Again might not be done with Muse, even after his death, because what's happening with Heather Glenn could be setting up one of the darkest storylines we've ever seen in the MCU. So, if you've been paying attention, Heather Glenn is still clearly affected by what's happened with Muse. And even though Muse is gone, his presence isn't. She still has the mask, and that's a massive detail, because with a character like Muse, the mask isn't just something he wore, it represents everything he was. And what Marvel might be doing here is leading into a much darker psychological direction, one where the villain doesn't just disappear when they die. In the comics, Muse is one of Daredevil's most disturbing villains, someone who turns violence into art and leaves a lasting impact on anyone he crosses paths with. So the idea here isn't that he comes back physically, it's that he lingers mentally. And that brings us to Heather, because holding onto that mask can mean she's not just dealing with trauma. She could slowly be becoming obsessed. And if the MCU follows that path, we could start seeing hallucinations, intrusive thoughts, or her behavior starting to shift in subtle ways. And that's where things start to connect to the comics. In the comics, Heather Glenn actually has one of the darkest arcs tied to Daredevil. Her story doesn't end well. She goes through intense emotional struggles, pressures, and trauma, and eventually it leads to her taking her own life. And while that storyline isn't directly connected to Muse in the comics, the MCU could be blending elements here. Because now you have Heather already dealing with trauma. On top of that, she's holding on to something directly tied to a serial killer like Muse, and that combination could push her character down a much darker path. So instead of Muse coming back physically, his influence could actually be part of what drives her deeper into that downward spiral. So the question is Marvel setting up Heather Glenn for a tragic storyline similar to the comics? Or are they going to change her fate completely? Because either way, this is getting very dark for the MCU. Let me know what you guys think down below, and make sure to subscribe to All Marvel for more breakdowns and theories just like this.